Hello po, Kuya Juice. Juice Andre Ebonia. Meron po ba kayo? Okay, wala. So we have sayang naman. So isa ulit. Tech team, sino kayo mananalo for this time? Okay, we have our number 21. Sino kaya mananalo? Sabi po ni Kuya Ate Desa, shout out po kay Zarina Marturilas. Okay. So, sino kayo si 21? So, Kuya Dave Velado. Andito po ba kayo? Kuya Dave? From what school? Tech team? Okay, from Nueva Ecija University. Okay, shout out po sabi ni Kuya Larry, shout out po kay Missy. Drop lang ng mga shout out guys sa chat box. And from Kuya Daniel Soria, shout out kay Christian Zairus Omak. So, andito po ba si Kuya Dave from Nueva Ecija University? Okay, wala ulit. So, sino kaya mananalo ulit next time? For this time. Okay, sabi ni Ate Andrea, shout out po for Noria Crishadel. Sabi naman ni Ate Eliza, ako na. Hoping ate, hoping. Manifesting. Yan ulit ata yung nanalo kanina. Tech team, 671. Okay, sabi po ni Kuya John Gola, pabati po, happy birthday si Jose Crisolo Godali. Sabi naman ni Kuya Saldus, itabi nyo na ako na yan. Kasi sana masasabi ko rin yan, Kuya. Okay, sabi naman ni Kuya Michael Caldoza, pa-shout out po. Hello po, Kuya. Kamusta naman kayo? Kuya Ryan, alam na alam yung number, 22. So we have our winner, Ate Ashley May Pimentel from DMMMSU MLUC. Okay, andyan po ba kayo? Send po sana kayo ng message or any. Okay, it seems nawala si Ate Ashley. Okay. Sino kayo mananalo next time? Okay, sabi ni Kuya Jose, Crisologo, shout out sa master ko, Yonito Fuldago. Love you po. Ayan. So we have our number, 592. Sino kaya siya? So we have Kuya Ronald Pacula from Nueva Vizcaya State University. Andito po ba kayo, Kuya Ronald? Oh, okay, yes, andito nga siya. So, please send us your full name and also your school with your GCash number po sa aming Gmail account po, which is the PSME LU 2021. Okay, for our second winner ng 100 GCash. Sino kayo mananalo? May nagpapa-shout out guys. So we have Kuya Jeto per Ordinario. Yes, shout out sa Boston Celtics 1-0 na. Kung ba yan, Kuya? Basketball or not? Okay, we have Kuya Briggs Daven. Ay, wait. Okay. We have our winner, Kuya Renz Julven Cabantug from Mindanao State University. Hello po, Kuya Renz. Andito ba kayo? Okay, wala siya. Hello po Kuya John Cedric Gola. Pa-shoutout daw po kay William Tating, single and available. Okay, yes, so we have our new number, which is the 954. Sino kaya siya? So we have at Liberty Abelas. Pa-shoutout po, baka ako na manalo dyan. Hoping. Sana nga po ate or kuya. So we have, okay. Kuya Adzmir, chill lang po. Sabi niya pa shoutout po sa PLDT Pisting. Okay. Chill lang po Kuya Adzmir. Okay, so we have Kuya Christian, shoutout kay Angel Christy Kotanda. Love you po. Okay, we have our winner. So, Kuya Joren S. Pineda, andyan po ba kayo from Bicol University? Okay. Kuya Joren S. Pineda, andyan po ba kayo? Okay, mukhang wala si Kuya. Si Tech Team, isa ulit. Okay. Kuya Dave Velado, paano po i-claim? So sa GCash po is-send po namin yung cash po from GCash to GCash po. So you have to send to us your GCash number. So continue with our. Okay. So number 8, sino kaya siya? So we have Ederlyn C. Santiago from Bulacan State University. Okay, mukhang wala si Ate Ederlyn. Okay, isa ulit. Oh. So, may pagbabago guys, yung mananalo for this time is 100 GCash and free registration for our upcoming conference. Yun daw yung next na mananalo. Sorry Bea. Sayang, very sayang. Kasi isa ka sa PSME team sa MLUC kaya hindi pwede. Okay, so we have our winner, 378. Hello po, Rosel Carbugwa from Bicol State College of Applied Science and Technology. Andito po ba kayo? Okay, wala siya. So sayang naman, 100 GCash tapos free registration for our upcoming conference na yan. So sino kaya mananalo sa next? Okay, we have number 100. Okay, sabi ni Kuya Beji, pa-shoutout po kay Kuya Nico Soriano. Okay, we have our winner. Ate Andrea Kit Malari from Don Honorio Ventura State University. Nandito po ba kayo? Oh yes, meron dito si ate. Okay, Ate Kit Malari. Hello po ate. So please send us a message of your full name and your GCash number po. To our Gmail po. Okay, so yun na muna ang ating raffle draw for sa ngayon, but before moving on, i-introduce muna namin ang upcoming conference namin. So okay, so on June 22, 2020, 2022, we will be having our ID PSME Partech, a Fire Protection Technical Division, First Northern Luzon Cluster Technical Conference on June 25, 2022 at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So dito po yung sinasabi naming ay free registration sa nanalo kanina. So for the further information will be posted in our FB page. So stay tuned guys at PSME LU Chapter and JPSME LU. And also in cooperation with the DMMMSU MLUC, PSME DMMMSU MLUC Student Unit. And also, this is hosted by the LU Chapter. PSME LU Chapter po. So yeah, we will now continue with the discussion with Engineer Jobel Malaygay po. Hello po, sir. So stay tuned guys dahil meron pa ulit raffle draw para mamaya sa latter part ng webinar.
Thank you. Tinignan ko din yung pangalan ko dun eh. Nasa list ba ako ng ano? Alright. Thank you so much, Sir Joel. Alright, so let's proceed with our discussion sa element number 6 hanggang sa 19. And para matapos pa natin. Alright, so composition and duties of OSH committee. So here we have three different categories or types of safety and health committee, and you will only select what is fitted to your industry or to the numbers corresponding to the numbers of your employees or your organization. The OSH committee of the company is responsible to plan, develop, and implement OSH policies. They are the one responsible to study or to have a trends or analysis of what are the programs that needs to be established or prepared first that the company or organization will be needing. So hi sir, and so nice to see you here. All right, so for establishments with less than 10 workers and lower than establishments with 10 to 50 workers, so this is the composition. So for this, we can now remove this. If this is the type of your establishment, and we can now remove this, this letter A and B. And its content. So you can place it here, the chairperson, name of company owner or the manager, the one that has the highest position in the organization or in your site, in your branch, or the representative of the employer. The secretary is always the designated safety officer or the tasked or the hired safety officer of your establishment. So member for the since this is a 10 to 50 below, and we are only required to have at least one employee as part of the as member of the organization. But if you are having a 9 below employees in your organization, so we recommend that all of you will be part of the committee. For letter B, for medium to high-risk establishments with 10 to 50 workers, this will be your composition. And for the low risk, if you are having a 51 above employees, and this is also your composition. So the ex-officio chairman, chairperson, name of employer or his her representative. The secretary is the safety officer of the general contractor or the main contractor. But if you have established, if you are a safety officer of a subcontractor or agency, And when you establish or your company has established a different or separate committee, say health and safety committee, you are the secretary. But in the composition of the committee of your general contractor or of your client, you are the member. You are part of the member. So ex officio, if you have a first aider, name of occupational nurse, the nurse of the general contractor or the main contractor, a name of dentist if applicable, because sometimes the engagement or the service of a dentist are already included in the memorandum of agreement with your hospital. And OH physician if a doctor or physician is already a requirement to your organization, depending on the number of your manpower. And members, name of safety officers representing the subcontractor or subcontractor, and the case may be. We encourage also that for the General Health and Safety Committee, we encourage that even the principal or the authorized managing officer of your subcontractors will be part of the committee. And for the number three type of the committee, we have the joint coordinating committee. Like for example, you are renting a unit in a building, or the presider or the one who are tasked to organize the health and safety committee is the building administrator, and you are part of the committee and you will be a member. And this is for establishments with multiple tenants or renting companies or establishment as well. So like for example, this is applicable to mall, and this is applicable to commercial spaces or commercial buildings with different types of services, and that is the joint coordinating committee. And only one is applicable to you, but you can update that, or you can change the composition of your committee and following the number and the number of your employees will be, and the type of your activity or your organization. Okay, and moving forward, and so the chairperson for the joint committee, the name of building owner or his or her representative, that is the building administrator. And secretary, name of safety officer appointed by the chairperson. It could be coming from their company as well, and other than the building administrator or additional or other building administrator. Members, name of two safety officers from the building selected to the joint committee, joint health and safety committee, or we encourage that since all establishments are required to designate a safety officer, so all tenants of this building shall allow their safety officer to be part of the safety and health committee of the building. Name of two workers representative could be coming from the main administrator or as voted majority by the safety officer possible or the employees of the organization. All members of the health and safety committee shall perform their duties and responsibilities by the OSH law and its implementing guidelines. We can also refer the other duties of the health and safety committee from our OSH standards, the occupational safety and health standards, rule 1040, since it is still in effect, even though that we have a new guidelines or we have new legislation, still the rule 1040 is still in effect. The Safety and Health Committee minutes or report submitted, that is the minutes of the meeting. And one activity of the Health and Safety Committee is to conduct an investigation, a monthly inspection of the workplace, and to meet at least once a month. And all of the topics or concerns discussed in that meeting shall be made in writing through these minutes of the meeting. So you are who will prepare the minutes of the meeting? That is the safety officer. The safety officer will present the agenda, will inform the members of the committee when they will meet, what time, the location, and the safety officer also shall submit or give the members a copy of this report in advance, and the meeting agenda in advance prior to the day of your meetings. So yes, we submit that the Health and Safety Committee reports quarterly, but we are required to submit that monthly, to prepare that monthly. But for the construction, since you have different guidelines, that is the Department Order number 13, you are required to submit this report monthly. But it depends again on the DOLE having jurisdiction, the frequency. They can adopt as well the Labor Advisory 04-19. And so what is more important here is we conduct the committee meeting, and we prepare reports or the minutes of the meeting. OSH personnel and facilities, safety officer. Safety officers attach certificates of trainings prescribed by DOLE. That these are the mandatory training, the BOSH, SO2, and the COSH. And so please use an additional sheet as necessary. So we can remove this already, and for the safety officer. So name of safety officer and your company designated safety officer or tasked by your employer or hired by your employer. So trainings include, like for example, we place it Juan de la Cruz, right? And trainings can include number of hours. So we place it here, BOSH SO2, and that is 40 hours. Right. We have a different part on the OSH training of on OSH of OSH personnel. So emergency occupational and occupational health personnel and facilities, list of competent emergency health personnel within the work site, duly complemented by adequate medical supplies. For the medical supplies, number of our medicine, and what areas or when we are required to have this kind of facility, we shall refer this from the table 8, if I'm not mistaken. So table 47 of our standard. So here so let's have an example. Here is additional sheet if necessary. Shift, area, unit, or department. Like for example, for the area, we have the production area. It is where your services were prepared or made. Total number of workers. Like for example, we have 500. So health personnel, we have already here not only physician, first aider, not only nurse, not only doctor, right? And so here, so we can place it here. At least we have 6 first aiders, and these are requirements. So for every 50, we need to have one of them are trained in first aid, or we can designate or hire dedicated first aider. We have 1 nurse, and we have 1 physician. And so possible that the requirement for for the dentist, can be included. Can be included in the memorandum of agreement with your hospital. So yeah, it could be included, right? Let's see, in the facilities treatment room or clinic, of course, we have one or possible. It depends on your area. Here we assume we have one clinic that are centralized, and strategically we have possible 4 first aid station. And so it depends, right? So this is based on my assumption of the working area and the nature of your activity, but it could be different from you, right? Since we are having a different industry, what we need to know is to study the production, the area, or it could be the same, no? And the physician can cover other areas or other activity, and that is okay, right? Even of course the clinic, they could it is a sharing, right? Even the first aid facility or the first aid station, we need to check this one, right? Under 8, based on the size of your area, on the number of your manpowers, and that is for the provision of the facilities, and the number of our health personnel. For the number 8, safety and health promotion, training and education. So please see attach additional sheets as necessary. So we can remove this one. Orientation of all workers, name of OSH training or orientation. Of course, we have the mandatory 8-hour safety and health seminar for workers. Your number of employees in attendance or your expected. Like for example, we have 1,000, right? And date, it could be Q1, Q2, or Q3, or if already done, and you can place the specific date when all of the dates, when was this training was conducted, right? And you can have also separate or dedicated topic depending on the nature of our activity, or per production or per area, and the orientation of all workers on us, not necessarily being conducted by the safety officer alone. Right? So remember that being a safety the supervisor, we have also a safety responsibility. So possible that you can join with the or collaborate with the safety officer in the conduct of orientation for our workers. Right? Conduct of risk assessment, evaluation and control. So since this is a orientation or awareness, so what are the topics that are applicable to our workers? So possible we have the hierarchy, since our workers are part of the team who makes or prepares updates or review the hierarchy. So they need to understand what are the contents and how to fill up the document. So not all workers are included in the preparation. So it could be the representative or the workers representative in the health and safety committee, and that is possible. Or since hierarchy is a specific document for each type of activity, so there's a possibility that the worker representative are different people also, right? And continuous training on us. So here we have the additional or continuous training, since we are required to have at least 16 hours of training per year. So you can place it here. What are the upcoming trainings or the developmental? What are your developmental plans being a safety officer? So name of us person, we place it here. So Juan de la Cruz. And since our training has no expiration, the mandatory. We need to have an advanced training. Like for example, and this is the requirement, if you wanted to submit or to become a DOLE accredited a safety practitioner in the future after taking the Bosch training or the mandatory training or for construction, that is cost. So we are required to have at least 48 hours training. And sometimes if you are a new application, and what we can suggest is the loss control management or the LCM and plus HIRAC. This is the HIRAC is a 1 day and LCM is a 40 hours and the HIRAC is 8 hours. It's an 8-hour training. All in all, 48 hours. The requirement of the legislation is, or even DOLE, evaluate our trainings, and the minimum required training hours in a span of 3 years is 48 hours. Okay, so after taking the mandatory training, you can already take this training. LCM immediately. You can take this training immediately, and while you are completing the minimum required of years before you can become a SO3, Safety Officer Level 3, and while completing the minimum requirements of years, so you are to become qualified to apply as a DOLE accredited practitioner. For the, I believe we have already discussed that before. For an engineer, a PRC license, or any other professions, as long as you are a PRC license, we need to have a 3 years of actual experience. And for a college graduate, that is 4 years. And for college undergrad, and there's a corresponding years equivalent to your that you need to complete or acquire based on the units that we have already earned in our schooling. Okay, and but safety has no. And yes, we conduct that, sir. And but safety has no required profession. The requirement only is you need to have or undergo a safety training, mandatory training, and you can now apply to become a safety officer, right? And so it has no educational attainment requirement, but it is your advantage, and especially that you are an engineer, so it is your advantage. Right, so moving forward, we have also advanced training. If we say advanced training, it could be conducted or received from DOLE or DOLE accredited training organization or reputable government institutions. Like for example, we have the DOLE. DOLE has conducted several trainings. We have also the DOH. They have this webinar series monthly, and any other organizations or affiliated organizations just ask for a certificate and attending this one. So this is considered as an advanced training because you have a certificate, and that is us, part of the us, right? So you have already your advanced training, right? Even though that you have not already went through the Bosch training, and that is okay, and that is accepted, right? For the work permit, example of works with the permit required, so hand and power tools. If we are using or utilizing a power tools or portable power tools, like for example the grinders, the drillers, we have the welding machine, and so on. Confined space, hot works, working at heights, scaffolding, lockout, tag out for the electrical procedures or works, and servicing, machine operators, lifting permit, painting works, gondola. These are suspended scaffolds that we saw outside of a property or a building. Excavation permit, demolitions, and crane operation, heavy equipment. So as you can see here, these are mostly works from a construction, but the template is for general industry. Okay, so but there's still a possibility that even though your industry is considered is a general industry, but sometimes we have a special activity like this, right? And in a general industry, there's a possibility that you are constructing a certain facility or a certain building. So the requirement also is cost. So it is recommended for you to have the two mandatory training, the Bosch and the cost. So whichever industry you may be in the future, at least you have now the knowledge. What are the control measures? What are the legislations for this type of fields? And that is your advantage. Applicable for medium to high-risk establishment with 10 to 50 workers, and low to high risk establishment with 51 workers and above. So this is not included in the simple construction program, right? And element number 9, conduct of toolbox or safety meetings and job safety analysis. Here, we will just enumerate what are the relevant or applicable topics that we are going to discuss in a given time of a short time of 10 to 15 minutes, and that is the toolbox meeting, right? And the date, you can leave it blank and or just place it quarter or what month, and you can update if it is already done or completed. Accident and illness investigation, recording and reporting. So here, being a supervisor, we have a form that you need to accomplish if the incident transpired in your area of responsibility and or your worker has been involved in an incident or accident. We have a DOLE report form, that is the engineer's report. We need to accomplish that, and it is an attachment to the IP6 where your safety officer has completed. Right? So that is why when we have an accident and it is your area of jurisdiction, you are required to work with the safety officer in the development or conducting accident investigation. Any dangerous major accident that have resulted to death or permanent disability. When we say permanent disability, the worker who have incurred an injury, who have met that accident, may no longer return to work because of his condition. The worker is possibly bedridden. The worker was amputated of both hands or both feet. The worker has incurred loss of both eyes, and there's a possibility that the worker was have a head injury that have resulted to imbecility or insanity, and so those are examples of permanent total disability. And we need to inform DOLE. The DOLE having with your area of jurisdiction within 24 hours by any means of communication. It could be through email or phone, or it could be through text. So we need to inform the DOLE because they will investigate the workplace. They will investigate your site. After the conduct of investigation, the company shall prepare and submit work accident report. That is the IP6 or the year. This is being done or accomplished by the safety officer of your company. Moreover, other work accidents resulting to injuries, disabling injuries should be submitted on the next time frame or duration or frequency of submission, or it could be submitted next month or for this month. Okay? And so all near-misses shall be recorded and reported. We encourage, or it is encouraged, that all employees shall report near-misses. What are those near-misses? These incidents transpired in your workplace that have not resulted in personal injury or property damage, but has the possibility. A system for notification and reporting of work accidents, including near-misses or incidents within the company, shall be developed and reviewed by the OSH committee as necessary. Because if we did not entertain these near-misses that has transpired or occurred in our workplace, and there's a possibility that this event will happen again, and there's a possibility that it can incur personal injury and property damage. Right? So that is why we encourage everyone says of or the main difference of accident and incident. Accident is an event that have resulted to property damage and or personal injury. For the near-misses, it is an event wherein no personal injury to worker and no property damage was recorded. But there's a possibility that there's an employee involved why this incident happened or transpires. These are the reports that we are required to submit, and so work accident, injury, or the 1 year. So you can scan the QR code for the IP6. And another, in the Dolly template, so this is not included, but as you can see here, this is our manual. So we wanted that it is useful to the reader and to our participants. That is why we make it more easier for you to access these files or forms. But do not worry, I will give the editable forms to your organizer after this event. Thank you. And another annual exposure data report. It is here for the IP6. Here we prepares the report, and in the event that in a single accident and we have 2 personnel who have incurred an injury, we need to prepare 2 reports to IP6 and individually, and we treat them as individual per person and not per accident. For the annual exposure data report, it is where the frequency rate and severity rate was being introduced or discussed. The frequency rate refers to your total number of disabling injury times 1 million divided by man-hours worked for the year. And for the severity rate, this refers to your total number of days lost or charged times 1 million divided by total man-hours worked to date or for the whole year. So this computation, this formula was discussed or are being discussed in your mandatory trainings in 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐩𝐡 and in Bosch SO2. Right? And additional, you have the annual medical report or the OH47A. This form was being prepared by your health personnel. It is where the data of non-work-related illness and work-related illness or diseases are being recorded. And estimation on we also reports the number of our personnel who have undergone special exams, pre-employment medical exam, annual physical exam, and what are the exposures of our personnel to physical hazards, chemical hazards, biological, and ergonomic hazards. So you can see all of those in the OH 47A form or the annual medical report. In the event that we have no nurse, we have no doctor, since the requirement of these are based on the nature of our industry and to the number of our workers and to the size of our organization or workplace. And sometimes the only available health personnel is the first aider. So there's a possibility that the first aider, this work will be given to the first aider or to the safety or to the HR, whoever handles or files the medical record of our employee. So to determine this, we need to establish a guidelines for the reporting and record keeping, or we need to establish a procedure. For the OSH committee and the report on safety organization or the IP5, and so you can check the form, the template, and we are required to submit every January of this form or this template, the updated directory or composition of your health and safety committee. The annual medical report are to be submitted on or before March 31 of the next year. And the coverage is from January 1 to December 31 of the previous year. For the ADR, the submission is January of the next year, but the coverage is from January 1 to December 31 of last year or of the previous year. Report submitted here, so we call this WARMA. We have that acronym, we have the WAIR, or the Work Accident Incident Report. We have the AADR, Annual Exposure Data Report. We have also the report on safety organization and minutes of the meeting of the Health and Safety Committee and the annual medical report. So here, you can place it here quarterly, right? And annually. So here, annually. Minutes of the meeting, quarterly. But we need to prepare this monthly, since we are having or conducting a monthly health and safety committee. And this is annually, but on or before March 31. But you can leave it blank. So it's your option, all right? For element number 11, provision and use of personal protective equipment, issuance of PPE shall be supplemented by training. All of the items or PPE that we are going to issue to our workers, each worker shall receive an orientation on the PPE that was issued to them. And we can refer the content of your material or the orientation from the hierarchy that we have prepared from the brochure coming from the suppliers of your PPE. The number of workers given estimated, like for example, we have the hard hat, and imagine you have 500 workers, so all of them should be given with hard hat. And there are secondary or specialized PPE that not all of the employees are required to wear this or to have this. Like for example, we have the full body harness, Right? So these are applicable to workers who are having exposure to working at heights or below or ground level, or working near the edges, leading edges of a structure or a building, or as determined by your HIRAC document. And another, welding helmet. Not all are required to wear welding helmet, right? It could be less than 500 or a few. What is more important here is that the proper assessment of your HIRAC document. Okay? Moving forward, the provision of safety signage, element number 12. The safety signage include warning to workers and employees and the public. We have 7 colors of our signage based on table 11 of the table, sorry. And so let me check. It's table 11 or 8. So based on the signage, and for signage having a green color, it designates safety. And for yellow, it means that these are precautions, or these are activities gives us warning that it could hurt the person. And for the red colors, the possibility here that when an accident will occur, the person could die. And for the blue, it states that it is a mandatory, must do. So green designates safety, and yellow caution, and red, that is danger, and blue, that is must have. So we have different colors, and depending on the nature of our industry or activity, what is more important here is that it shall conform to the color coding and even the sizes. We have a computation for the sizes. So all of these are being discussed in your Bosch and Koch training. You can insert here your company design, or the signage your company are using for your activity. For the 13, dust control, applicable for medium to high-risk establishments with 10 to 50 workers, and low to high-risk establishments with 51 workers. So kindly attach the dust control procedure. So here we are talking about the mitigation plan. If we talk about the mitigation plan, we include the noise, we include, of course, the dust protection. So you need to determine what are the activities that where dust are produced or accumulated, and what are the chemicals which produces this type of airborne contaminants. So we can include the mitigation plan here for the noise. And number 14, provision of workers' welfare facilities. These are not limited to the following: an adequate supply of drinking water, adequate sanitary and washing facilities, suitable living accommodation. We can include also here the service vehicle. We can include here canteen or mess hall, lockers for our workers, so quarters, right? And etc. So Department Order 143-15, lactation station or breastfeeding area. That is one of the requirement, no? And if you have an employee that are having a baby, or if you have an employee that are comprises of female, so but the lactation station are not a requirement if your employees are all male, right? And that, because that is not applicable to your industry. So moving forward, and so element number 15, emergency and disaster preparedness and response plan. Here, Dolly has no template, so you can make your own or tailor fit your own template. but your emergency preparedness and response plan shall be tailor-fitted to the vulnerabilities or emergencies that are possible or that are possible that will happen based on the nature of your activities and on the area where your project or your work are located. So we need to see or to look for that. It is why for the emergency preparedness plan, we have the 4 elements, right? We have the prevention, we have the prevention, the preparation, and we have the response and the recovery. So we have separate discussion for that. Solid waste management, written pollution control program. So here, we are required to establish our ecological solid waste management, right? The segregation of our waste, even the segregation, collection at source, transportation, disposal, and even a pollution control officer is needed in a production or in an industry having a hazardous waste. Like for example, for the manufacturing, and we have for the transportation, we are using chemicals, and we cannot dispose the containers of these chemicals and mix with the general waste, or they are to be treated separately. And for the fuel storage tanks, for the oil contamination, they are not advisable to mix also to any other waste. They are to be treated properly. So it is here that a pollution control officer, which is a DNR accredited, is a requirement. And take note that the PCO also submit reports to DNR. They have the self-monitoring report. They have also the quarterly monitoring report, and the activities or the reports of the PCO or the pollution control officer can be seen on the issued ECC from the DNR, the Environmental Compliance Certificate. And they have also a separate training conducted by a DNR accredited institution, or the DNR itself, or even the LLDA, whichever is applicable to your area. And if your workplace is near, or the LLDA has a jurisdiction, so you can take the training to LLDA. So control and management of hazards. So we cannot leave this blank, this format. Right? So here you can discuss the requirement or the control measures, the hierarchy of control measures, the 5, and we have the elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative, and the PPE, our last line of defense. Prohibited acts and penalties for violations, you can insert here your company as a set violation rules and regulation in terms of safety. And the code of discipline are not included here because this is under HR policy or programs, right? But sometimes there are disciplinary action or violations that are HR related and safety related. So they need to jibe and or they need to synchronize these policies or rules. Right? So you can insert, these are some of the examples of safety rules and regulations. So element number 18 is not included in the simple safety program. But here, for the comprehensive safety programs, it is an inclusion to your safety program. So please attach existing company sanctions for violations on us, and your set or established own company rules and regulation. This is the last slide, or this is the last element, cost of implementing company OSHA program. Just place here your budget for this year, possible, your safety budget. And these are some of the OSHA items. PPE, but PPE is not a safety budget. This is a separate pay item. Should not be included on the safety budget. OSH trainings, safety signage, machine guards and related equipment, and you can modify this part based on the nature of your organization, on your work, on your industry. All right. So you can scan this QR code, or you can visit the link provided to download that template. But I have here the separate template for that. So I will give it to the organizers later on. And so that ends my presentation. But here I have we have also made a developmental guide. So this is the annex for the prevention, and so you can place it only here the name of your company, and then signed by your employer, and signed by you, the safety officer, who have checked or most of the time prepared this template, and the date of preparation. And for additional, we have placed here the OSH program development guides as a pattern. What are the ideas, or before you accomplish the template, you can read this first, and so you can understand well the content of the 19 elements of the safety program. You cannot see this to the downloadable template by Dole, because we consolidate here based on the experience, what are the problems every time we prepare one program. So we consolidate here since this is our manual for BESO. You cannot see this in the template by Dole. All right, so that ends my presentation, and I hope you learned something, because a part of you is a safety responsibility, and because eventually you will handle people in your workplace, and you are responsible also for the implementation of this program. And that is my presentation, and I hope you learned something, and thank you very much. So I am now open for questions, and I will turn over you the Zoom screen to your organizers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that very detailed presentation po. And now, okay. And now, bago tayo dumako sa Q&A session po, magkakaroon muna tayo ng promotional segment. So habang nasa promotional segment po tayo, is mag-formulate na kayo ng mga questions nyo questions nyo na ilalapag nyo sa ating Q&A session. So tech team. So we do hope, and we do encourage excuse me, all of you to attend our future or upcoming events, which are webinars and conference. So ito na po yung ating future webinar. So bukas na po to, which on June 5, 2022, entitled Labor Education for Graduating students at 2 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Our speaker for tomorrow's webinar is Engineer Melanie P. Banayos, the PSME National President. So a quick disclaimer lang po sa title po, which is nakalagay graduating students, pero all participants are welcome po, like senior high school, all year levels in the college, and also for graduated or licensed participants din po. Pwede po silang sumali. And now the registration link is posted already in our chat box. So please check it out. So once again, yung speaker natin dito is the PSME National President, which is Engineer Melanie P. Banayos po. So let's move on, guys. Tech team, next slide po. So ito na nga po yung sinasabi po namin kanina, which is the PSME Fire Protection Technical Division First Northern Luzon Cluster Technical Conference, which will held on June 25, 2022 at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is hosted by the La Union Chapter, PSME La Union Chapter, and in cooperation with the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University Mid-La Union Campus PSME Student Unit. So once again, further information will be posted in our FB page at JPSME LU Chapter and at JPSME LU. So check nyo lang yung FB pages namin, guys. And now, moving on to our Q&A session. So I do hope na nakapag-formulate na kayo ng questions ninyo or inquiries. So let me remind everyone to please keep your questions minimal and on the topic. Sir, meron na pong nagtanong kanina, nakita ko po. From Kuya Joseph, Sir, yung magkakonduct po ba ng 8 hours mandatory training for workers? Safety officer, manager, and supervisor, engineer yung magkakonduct?
Okay, so thank you so much, sir. It was discussed in our last series, right? Yung 8 hours mandatory ay nakalagay po sa batas natin na may be conducted by a safety officer. Diba? Si safety officer natin na nasa workplace po natin. So sila po talaga yun. Bakit sila yung required na mag-discuss, mag-conduct ng safety 8 hours mandatory? Kasi yung mga statistics ninyo sa company, yun yung gagamitin niya na data, yung mga current situation sa workplace ninyo, yung mga best practices ninyo, yun yung mga di-discuss nila. Kaya we encourage po na kayo po yung mag-discuss nun. Si safety officer or part ng function mo, safety officer, tapos na engineer ka, dual function ka, pwede yun. But provided na meron kang mandatory, meron kang boss or meron kang cost, whichever is applicable sa'yo. And i-check nyo din na pwede naman si employer, pwede naman sila, si authorized managing officer, pero provided meron silang mandatory training. Diba? Kasi sa batas natin, pag sinabi mo na safety officer ka, tasked, diba? Tayo yung assigned or hired ng company na meron siyang mandatory training na kinuha sa DOLE or sa DOLE accredited na training organization. So yun yung requirement. In the event na wala naman po, pwedeng mag-engage ang ating employer na kumuha po ng OSH consultant or OSH practitioner na sinasabi po, or even sa mga STO, pwede pong ganun po kasi nangyayari naman po siya. Pero yun yung last na resort po ninyo. Kung walang tao or individual na pwedeng mag-conduct niyan dun sa organization ninyo. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Another question po from Kuya Joseph from SSU. Sir, yung toolbox meeting daily ba siya i-conduct or once a week?
Depende sa industry. For the construction industry, daily yan. Or sabi niya kasi, daily, yung frequency, daily, or kapag nagbago ka ng workplace, lumipat kayo, every shift, kasama din yan. So, you need to establish your guidelines. Kasi di ba sabi natin kanina, yung programa kasi, ito yung pangako mo ito yung gagawin mo. Ngayon, gagawa ka ng guidelines mo na specific dun sa activity na gagawin ninyo. Like for example, toolbox meeting, nakalagay dun yung frequency ninyo. Depende kasi dun sa risk or degree na ng risk ng inyong ginagawa. May mga iba na weekly lang sila kasi office setup sila. Meron naman yung every time na pag may pasok lang sila, syempre doon sila magto-toolbox. May mga ganun po. So, depende. So, for construction, daily and every shift yan. Sa high risk yan, daily talaga yan and every shift. And then, sa ano po yun, sa mga low risk, medium risk, pwede pong mapag-usapan ng committee ninyo, Health and Safety Committee, na gawin yung once a week siya. Wala pang problema yan. Importante, nangyayari yan at naidokumento at napag-agrihan yan ng Health and Safety Committee ninyo. So, yun po. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Juan po, from Kuya Don Violante, license ME, as lang po sa construction po, ilang projects pwede i-handle ng isang SO?
Okay, so yun po sir, no? Sa safety, may mga levels kasi yan. Ganun po. But kung ikaw ay hinire sa project na yon, yun lang yung hahawakan mo. Ayan po, kasi minsan sa construction project-based ka. So yun lang po. But sa construction kasi, meron mga level din yan sa organization. Like for example, superintendent ka. So you will oversee yung mga ibang projects na meron kang associate. Mayroon ding head na hawak niya yung mga superintendent, hawak din niya yung mga associate. Depende sa level po yan. So dito dapat na ang appointment ng safety officer ay base dun sa bilang ng mga tao po na magtatrabaho at base yan sa lawak, sa size ng kanilang pagtatrabahuhan. Kasi kahit sabihin natin na you have 3 buildings, kahit na tig-5 yung manggagawa sa building na yan, sa requirement kasi natin, yung SO2 pwedeng hanggang 100. Diba? Pero magkakaibang area. May mga ganun. So, ang requirement mo, per building yun. Yung dapat na i-designate natin na safety. Madami po, madaming mga ano po. Pero initially, ganun po yung mga ginagawa po natin. And always refer to the guidelines. Section 14 ng ating guidelines ng ating legislation, yung designation yung safety is per bilang ng tao, per area, and actually may additional nga tayo dyan sa DO 13, for every 10 heavy equipment, may +1 no, na safety officer. Dedicated lang doon sa mga heavy equipment natin. Ayun po. So, yun yung requirement. And syempre, base din yan sa prerogative ng management po natin. Yung sa, ano po natin, yung sa mga deployment na ng safety officer. So, yun yung pinaka-requirements po. Minimum natin. May mga ano tayo doon, sa matrix natin sa section 14 ng ating batas, ay may matrix doon yung bilang ng tao, yung risk classification, at kung ilan yung bilang ng mga safety natin na dapat meron. So, matututunan nyo lahat yan sa mandatory. Didiscuss po yan sa BOSH at saka sa POSH training po, yung matrix na yan. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. And another question po. Kapag nakapag-BOSH na po ako, pero gusto ko pumasok sa construction field, need ko po bang mag-undergo another course training?
Opo, definitely. Kasi ang BOSH, para yan sa general industry. Yung course naman, specific po yan sa construction industry. Dati, nung wala pa pong regulation si Dolly, kasi lately naman po na ano sila, nagbago po. Kanya-kanyang gawa ng syllabus yung mga training organization at may mga programa sila na pag nag-BOSH ka, 3 days, 2 days ka na lang sa course kasi yung 3 days pareho. Ngayon, you need to attend. At saka bawal naman kasi yun kasi dapat 40 hours pa din yun. So ngayon, kung nag-BOSH ka, saka nag-course po kayo, makikita niyo yung pagkakaiba. Sa BOSH training, pinag-usapan natin doon chemical safety data sheet, industrial hygiene, meron tayong yung hierarch process, pag-uusapan natin doon, at mga machines. Sa cost naman, pag-uusapan natin heavy equipment. Yung GHA naman doon, hindi siya hierarch. Yung occupational health naman, scaffolding, diba? Mga ganun po, demolition, excavation safety, kaya magkaiba siya, kaya dapat na kailangan po yun. Dati kasi, maring siguro sir, naabutan ninyo na kahit na boss ka, pwede ka sa construction. Totoo po yun. And tinatanggap yon. Pero dahil sa mga aksidente na nangyayari, and yun nga po yung may nangyari na bumagsak na gondola noon, noong January 27, 2011, dito sa Makati. And po, doon nagbago na lahat, mga safety sa construction, dapat COSH. Tapos meron tayong mga mandatory hours, no, na training na requirements sa mga tao natin. So mas maganda po kasi kaya makikita po ninyo yung pagkakaiba ng topics sa mga syllabus natin sa general industry at sa construction. Maritime, iba din sa kanila. Sa mining, iba din po sa kanila. Kaya may mga accredited po na organization si DOLE para po sa mga fields po na yan. Ayun po, kasi magkakaiba tayo ng mga expertise po. And thank you po.
Thank you, sir. Another question po. Sir, what if the company is not implementing our standards? What can you as a worker do po?
Okay, so unang-una po doon, kung knowledgeable po yung worker, no? Doon po sa mga standard natin, pwede niyang sabihin yung employer. Ayan po, yung employer po natin. And pwede po na kung halimbawa, ano ba yung mga hindi sinusunod or na-apply po. Kung walang mga dokumento, di ba, wala pong mga proseso kung paano gagawin yung trabaho, na doon din ma-determine natin kung ano ba yung mga controls na applicable sa gagawin po ng tao, meron tayong right to refuse unsafe work. Bilang isang empleyado, pwede tayong tumanggi sa trabaho na ipinapagawa sa atin or ipapagawa sa atin kung alam natin na ito ay delikado, maharap tayo sa panganib, at kung wala namang mga controls, no, na in place bago natin gawin yung trabaho. At hindi tayo pwedeng tanggalin sa kadahilanang yun dahil unang-una hindi po sa atin yung problema. So yun po. Kaya may protection po ang mga manggagawa dyan sa bagong batas natin kapag nag-retaliate tayo or retrenchment na tinatawag nila sa mga pagsukay ng mga manggagawa po natin na hindi sila nagtatrabaho at justifiable naman siya, valid yung mga reasons sa mga manggagawa natin, ay mabibigyan po ng possible na multa ang ating employer. So yun po, yung pinaka-best po doon, kausapin yung management, mag-establish ng organization or committee, ayun po, and do not do the work kung alam niyo na delikado. You have the right to refuse unsafe work po. And please be reminded na buhay natin yung nakataya dyan. Diba? And thank you.
Hello po sir, last question po from Kuya Joshua Andamon from TIP Manila. Hello po engineer. Itatanong ko lang po yung tungkol po doon sa requirements para maging safety officer number 3. Counted or considerable po ba yung mga skills training sa TESDA para po doon sa required related training?
Okay, thank you. Nice to see you here again, sir. Si Sir Joshua, nag-boss na siya nag-coach sa amin last week, no? Tama ba? Last week. Ayan po. So nice to see you here again, sir. Ayan po. And yung mga TESDA related na may mga topics or outlines sa safety pwedeng related. Like for example, scaffolding. Ako kasi personally, nagamit ko siya. 162 training hours. Nagamit ko siya when applied for consultancy. Diba? So kasi may part doon ng safety, ganun po, pwede po yun. Basta related siya, may connection siya doon sa safety po natin. Kasi may syllabus naman yun, may curriculum naman po siya. So pwede po yun. And importante, legit po yung nag-conduct, And yung mga kinukuhanan natin na mga trainings po natin dapat from a reputable institution. And syempre, dapat po na yung nagkakandak din is dapat na qualified din sila, di ba? And accredited. Even kami, so dapat na accredited din bago mag-conduct ng mga ganyang mga trainings po. So yun, kasama po yun, sir. Provided na i-submit lang natin, i-evaluate naman po yan ni Dole, kung credited po yun, and basta meron siyang relation sa occupational safety and health. Ayun po. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. And that will be the end of our Q&A session. And participants, let me remind you that pwede pa rin po kayong mag-send ng questions po sa amin, and we will send it to our speaker, Engineer Jobel Malaygay. Just send your inquiries or concerns to our email, which is the @PSMELU2021@gmail.com po. So let's move on to our next part of the program, Tech Team. Okay, let me award this certificate of appreciation to our speaker, Engineer Jobel B. Malaygay, in grateful acknowledgement for imparting his invaluable insight and worthy presentation as a speaker in the national webinar entitled Comprehensive Safety and Health Program for the General Industry, organized by the Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, Don Mariano Marcos, Memorial State University, Mid-La Union Campus Student Unit on June 4, 2022. Undersigned by the PSME Student Unit President, Mr. John Abel R. Deliso, PSME Student Unit Advisor, Engineer Telma T. Obilio, the COE SBO Advisor, Engineer Sherwin L. Mosomos, the ME Department OIC Program Chair, Engineer Melchor A. Mayana, and the College of Engineering Dean, Dr. Lorenzo L. Pacani. Thank you po, sir. And let me call on the PSME DMMMSU MLUC Student Unit President for the promotion of the second TechCon, which will be held on August 6, 2022.
Ayan, good afternoon. So I just want to introduce our upcoming second National Technical Conference after our first successful National Technical Conference held last April 17. So we will hold our second technical conference on August 6, 2022 with the theme Progress Taking Courageous Step Towards the Professional World of Filipino Mechanical Engineers, in collaboration with 3 PSME National Technical Divisions, namely first, PSME Project Management Technical Division, second, PSME Safety Engineering and Health Technical Division, and lastly, the PSME Mechanical Design and Fabrication Technical Division. So we are inviting you again, although hindi pa namin na-finalize, we just want to introduce it to you as early as now para makapag-prepare kayo. And sa mga umattend during our first technical conference, then expect na mas marami pa kaming magiging pasabog and mas marami pa ang aming magiging raffle prizes. And this conference will focus on safety and engineering. It will also tackle about mechanical design and fabrication, and then project management, which is really important. And kung gusto nyo makipartner sa mga PSME student unit, you are free to do so. Just message us, or you can just reach us via email at jpsme2021@gmail.com, or you can just message me or Joel Christian Biernes sa FB page. And if meron dito non-PSME student unit na gustong ma-invite, then you are free to do so. Inform us via email also. And kung may gusto namang mag-sponsor, we are open for sponsorship. You can just reach us via email. So that's all. Thank you. Back to you, Joel.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. And now, bago tayo mag-move on sa next part, I would like to see if our participants are still there. So guys, send your messages or emojis in our chat box. Andyan pa ba kayo? Okay, mukhang andyan. Okay, very active guys. So now magkakaroon tayo ng simple icebreaker. Okay, tech team. Okay. So guys, be active lang ha. Okay. Okay, next slide, tech team. Oh, by the way, stay tuned lang guys dahil hindi pa tapos ang ating raffle draws. Baka kayo yung manalo. For our mechanics for the icebreaker, guess the title of the song with only emojis and symbols as clues. Okay, for our number 1, so 5 kwan lang to. 3 to 5 po slides. So, ano kaya yung sagot? So, we have a flag and also a building and 3 clouds na may rain. Paubaya by Moira? Hindi. Hindi rin rain, go away. Ano kaya? Okay, so may mga nakasagot na. So yes, it is Paris in the rain. Okay. For our second item. Okay, ano kaya yan? So we have a clown, a girl, and also a crown. So anong kanta kaya yan? Title ng kanta. Yung mukhang kilala. So ito rin, excuse me. Ito rin isa sa mga favorite songs ko ngayon. So yes, it is the Joker and the Queen by Ed Sheeran and Kuya Michael, hindi po siya Harley Quinn. So okay, for our third okay. So this is our last item. So ano kayang kanta? Animals? Hindi. Pero tama siya. Animals nga yung mga yun. Pero hindi yan yung tamang sagot. So I think may nakakuha na, which is, yeah. Yung title ng ating third item is Fly by Nicki Minaj and Pan. So next, moving on to our raffle draw. One winner of 300 pesos GCash and a winner of free registration for our upcoming Fire Protection Technical Conference. Okay. So sino kayo mananalo guys? So unang winner for our 300 pesos GCash. So we have participant 587. So sino kaya yan? Okay, so we have Ate Sheila May from Bola Island State University. Hello po ate, andito po ba kayo? Okay, o nga, andito si ate, Sheila May. So please message us po. At jpsmelu2021@gmail.com. Nangangailangan din po. Okay. You're welcome po ate. Now, for our next winner, for the winner of free registration for our upcoming conference. Okay, so we have number 462. Sino kaya siya? So we have Jeden Marukurt from University of Rizal System. So, andito po ba kayo, Kuya Jeden or Ate Jeden? Okay, wala siya. Okay, tech team. Okay, sabi ni Kuya Kit from URSM, shout out po kay KC. Ate Ederlyn, ayos lang yan. Sabi niya kasi sino ba naman ako para mabunot? Same. Same thoughts. So we have our winner, Kuya Ian Mark Espenilla from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Okay, from Kuya Edmer, shout out daw kay Abel. Congrats to you and to your team. Okay, Kuya Ian, andyan po ba kayo? Kuya Ian Mark? Okay, andito siya. So please send us a message po kayo sa chat box if ever nandyan po kayo. Hello po, Kuya Ian. Okay. So we already have the winner for 300 GCash and pre-registration for the upcoming Fire Protection Technical Division Cluster Conference. Okay. And now moving on. Now let's have a simple picture taking to commemorate this webinar. Okay, guys, I encourage all of you to be active in our picture taking. So please open up your cameras.
Ayan, magsa-shoutout na ako saglit. Shoutout kay Pres Robert Jan Hopia, ingat sa Bulgaria. Andiyan din si Ate Telda.
Okay. So open up your cameras, guys. Baka malay nyo, andito pala yung future nyo. Future jowa. Okay. Habang naghihintay, magkaroon muna tayo ng shoutout. Shoutout daw kay Dolph Anasco. And also, shoutout din kay Kuya Michael Galvan. Okay. Team, ilang shots po tayo? Okay guys, please be patient with me. Pwede rin mag-isip kayo ng mga ninyo, poses ninyo. Habang naghihintay. Kuya Hamad po, mamaya po ipopost yung post-evaluation po. From Kuya Ben Abunda, pa-shoutout po kay Julie Ann Velasco, paunmanhin daw po sa wrong send na chat. From Kuya Nico, pa-shoutout po kay Kuya Behi Mansalapus. Hello Ryan. Pa-shoutout po. Hello Ryan. And from Kuya Angelo, pa-shoutout din po. Okay. Hello Angelo Manuel from NTC. Okay, magkakaroon tayo ng ilang shots kaya. So we will have a 3 shots po. Okay. So, smile guys. Smile sa ating screen. So 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, for our second shot. Post muna kahit anong post guys. Be creative. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Ganda at ang gagawa po natin guys. So for our final shots. So we have 3, 2, 1.
Recording stopped.
Okay. Thank you guys for participating actively. And now the post-evaluation form is already posted in our chat box or will be posted in our chat box. And or you can scan the code presented in the screen. Ano po yung kaldag, Kuya Dian? From Kuya Jetoper, shout out kay Miss Santa Ana. Erica, okay? Okay, before we move on to our closing remarks, magkakaroon muna tayo ulit ng wait. Okay. Let me call on, for the closing remarks, let me call on the secretary of the PSME DMMMSU MLUC. Oh, sorry. So before we move on, so gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, in order to have your e-certificate, you have to like and follow us in our Facebook page, which is the Junior Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, DMMMSU MLUC, and also please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Junior PSME La Union, to be updated in our events and lives po. So for our closing remarks, let me call on the PSME DMMMSU MLUC Student Unit Secretary, Ms. Bea Tanya Bulanday. Thank you po.
Thank you, Kuya Joel. First and foremost, to everyone present here today, to our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon. I am certain that everyone is excited to enjoy the rest of the day, but before you do so, let me extend my appreciation to our speaker, Engineer Jubel Malaygay, Engineer. We thank you for sharing your time and the most of your knowledge with us. Your presence brought a valuable contribution on today's webinar. Thank you so much, Engineer, for educating us. My deepest gratitude and acknowledgement also goes to my fellow officers and volunteers of the PSME DMMMSU MLUC Student Unit for the exemplary effort in organizing this event, with, of course, our partner organizations, and also to all who attended this worthwhile webinar and helped to make it such a successful event. Before ending my message, let me inspire you with a quotation that says, "Safety starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you." May we leave this webinar feeling inspired and ignited with the things we have learned. Once again, good afternoon and padayon, engineers.
Sa mga hindi naka-register, you can just fill up the evaluation form and you will receive an e-certificate as long as you fill out the evaluation.
Thank you, Secretary Bea, for that wonderful closing remarks, and thank you for joining us. Please be noted that the certificate will be released 1 week after the event. So we do hope and we encourage that sasamahan niyo ulit po kami sa aming future or upcoming events, which are the webinars bukas and also the conferences po. The first Northern Luzon Conference and the second Technical Conference po. Thank you po.